Let's continue with iron reviews. These are for the better player. You guys are really going to want to see this one. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is the McGolf channel where we talk about golf club repairs, golf club reviews, golf club fittings. Also, your scores can go low. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that stuff across the bottom. That way, this message gets out to more people in the YouTube universe, and the subscribership goes up. Also, we do a live stream. It's at 5:30 on Mondays called What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Talk about the same kind of stuff. You guys ask me questions. It's free-flowing. You will enjoy it. Come join us. It'll be fun. Alrighty, Mizuno. Mizuno is known for its irons, right? Where they've got all kinds of them. They're very well received. They perform great, and they have some new ones, all right? And new ones as in released about a month ago. Haven't finally had a chance to get into these guys. Got to talk to two of the designers. And what I found out is we have one called the S-3, and one is called the Forge Club, or the Hot Metal Forged, or the JPX Forged, whatever you want to call it. There they are. You're probably not going to be able to see them very well because my light's in the way. Alrighty, so let's start with the S-3 first. I'm going to put this other one down. All right, the S-3 is a new addition to the Mizuno lineup. It'll eventually take over all the numbers, I believe. They're probably going to go to S1, S5, that kind of stuff, and a change. Because I was always wondering if it was going to go to like 247 or something like that. It started getting kind of bland. So now they have this. Now, what is this? The S-3, if we were to give it a number, would be like a 242, somewhere between 241, 243. It is very much married up to the blade, okay? Hence the idea of the better player. And when I mean better player, I really do mean better player. You had better have some very good ball contacting skills in order to be able to use this guy, and you'll see why shortly. All right, it has a blade length, a sole width, and a top line that is very comparable to the blade within a millimeter or two. All right, almost imperceivable. Now, how is it made? They use a 1025 carbon steel, 1025E carbon steel, which is very mild, right? And that's part of what gives Mizuno the feel that everybody goes, the Mizuno feel. And so what they do is they do their HD forging on this, or grain flow forging on this, and then once they get their shape and everything, then they use a copper overlay over top of the base model. And that's what drives a little bit of its softness. And then they cover it in this satiny coat that everybody sees, okay? So that's how they get to their feel. It's very soft. It is a player's look, okay? This has a butter knife top line on it like better players would very much like. It has almost zero offset to the point I would believe in the 4-iron is 0.14 inches. All right, it's like 1/10 of an inch, and that's teeny weeny. All right, but go to zero. And so what have they done differently here? Well, they started back with the copper overlay, and they also have the tri-sole effect on it now. The leading edge has been killed or has been changed. It's been beveled so that it doesn't interact into the turf like a shovel. All right, in a lot of cases you'll see where the soles are radiused really heavy. What Mizuno tends to do is they have although there's a radius there, it's much flatter by perception. So what they do is they trail off the forward edge so that it doesn't act like a shovel, and it gives you a little bit better turf interaction. On the back of this tri-level sole is the trailing edge is beveled off a truckload so that it doesn't also get caught up into the dirt. And so that if you're a guy that takes a heavy divot, you're gonna probably not like this a lot, because it's gonna just stay still as heavy and get right in it because, well, it's a thin sole. There's nothing asking you to get out. Now, if you take a decent divot or a no divot, you'll probably enjoy these things great. Okay, so what else are we looking at? It does have a cavity back, as much as one could say it has a cavity back, albeit very small. Now, why do you have to be a better player? Typically, better players in the classification of ball striking and swing speed, okay? Ball striking and swing speed. So if you can hit this, because I'm here to tell you the sweet spot on this guy, although they're trying to use the Core-Tech design, the sweet spot on this thing is not very large. All right, again, this is made for a particular player. They've got a whole line of stuff for somebody else, other players, that is just as fine. But that's where this is going. I'm driving this point home so that you can go, oh man, look, it's a nice forged club. Maybe I can go hit it. Well, if you're that player, sure, go get fit. All right, go get fit. That's the other part of it. All right, what's the last part of this? Is that if you go look at the specs on this guy, that the 5-iron is a 27 and the pitching wedge is a 26. We'll call those the new modern traditional lofts. Okay, normally it would have been much higher and about a 48. So this is where this is at. So again, better player. It's not to say that it's a bad iron. You just got to have some game to play the guy, right? And it's just a really nice looking club. Feels great when you hit it, but it also lets you know when you don't, which with a skill set like mine, I felt that a lot. Now the other one. All right, the other one's the JPX Forge. Now the JPX Forge is a little bit longer, not by much. It's still a compact design. The top line is a little bit thicker, again, because it's a bigger club. It's 2, keep with me, 4 through the 7 is a 4120 chromoly forged product. When the 8 down, it is the 1025E forged product. Okay, so there's 2 different kinds of forging. Why is that? Well, because the whole idea of this club in the JPX line is ball speed. All right, it's ball speed. So it's all about this. If you saw one of my live streams, we talked to the designer that had a lot to do with the face, the Core-Tech face. And what the Core-Tech face is, there's an ellipsis in here, a milling, an ellipsis back in here that allows you to get, well, it's less penal, right? And get better ball speeds off the face, even when you hit in the good spot or when you don't hit in the good spot. Okay, that's part of it. Number 2 is it has the HD flowing on their chassis, and if you look, this is a little bit less pronounced as they have been in the past. And the sole, what they did is what they did in this is they would cut a groove here, and then they would run a miller up the back and to get the face very, very thin, so that this would act as a support. And then they would cover it up. Now, this one also sports the tri-bevel design, meaning that the leading edge is much more beveled, you have the middle, and then the trailing edge is much more cut off. Now on the wider sole, and I'm not even sure if you'll be able to see this, we'll try it out here. Nope, it's not going to give it to me. There we go. I'll show you some pictures while we're talking about this. It's much more pronounced only because it's wider. Okay, it's only because it's wider. So this one also has very, very little offset as well. This is a better players club, not the players club, but a much better players club. If you look on that, even the website tells you got to be where they talk mid-handicap to pro, that follows through into the pro category. Where this guy starts at the mid-handicap and goes down. So who could play this guy? Well, I'm telling you, probably somebody that can break 90 is a good starting point. Okay, somebody who can break 90 could probably play this with all kinds of ease. Now again, it's a forged product, different kind of metals, the chromoly in the beginning, the 1025 in the past. It goes through all the same processes that the other one does, and a bit more in order to give you those ball speeds. This is not for that guy with the super high swing speed, although it can be, and I've done some testing here, and you'll see this. Okay, so what do we have here in this? So we talk about the specs. So we talked the specs on the other one with 27. The same number here is a 23. And instead of being a 46, it's a 43. So you're literally going up an entire club, okay? You're going to get an extra club's worth of distance. So not only is it stronger, right? Not only is it stronger, but it's still a good player's club for those guys, well, like me, where my swing speed isn't what it used to be, and you still want to punch it out there. And we'll see that here in a minute. we've done this, and I've got some examples for you. So let's go do that. Here we are. We're comparing the Mizuno Forge, the Mizuno S-3 with one another, and this is like adding, comparing paper and milk. They're just not the same. However, we need to give it some. We're giving you guys a foundation from which to at least make a educated decision, right? So as you can see, the Mizuno Forge 183, 185, that's pretty healthy for me. We'll see why that is soon. Swinging at 90 mile an hour, hitting it very, very well. 132 is a very good number. Of course, we all like to see it higher, but it is what it is. That's a good one. 5137 for spin, I will say that is very much okay based on the loft of the club. Hitting a pull with a slight angle of attack. The S3, on the other hand, being a complete club shorter, went 163, 164, swinging around the same amount, but I just could not find the middle of that golf club. I got plenty of spin on it. It got plenty of height, as one would imagine for a weaker golf club, and they had a little bit of an angle of attack. So let's take a look at what they did. Okay, so I had 10 shots apiece in 2 different sessions, and this is what it looks like. 10 shots. I'm kind of happy with them being just to the right. Keep in mind I'm a lefty, so this is not a fade. This is more of a pull. These guys over here to the right, you're going to see the reason why they're out there in just a second. But I hit some pretty decent ones like that guy, and that's just, look, hitting it very, very well at that particular speed. And then I'm back in the 180s, and then there's the 170s. Okay, so, and what it was is, you see this varying degree here is I was hitting some in my normal swing and then in my coming out of my golf shoes kind of swing just to see what would happen. Alrighty, so from a landing point of view, they're right here. Now, if you see all these right here in the corner, that's a pretty doggone good pattern. I would take that all day. Every one of these guys that you see out here, that's me jumping on it, and when I told you I was not very good with my control, and this is why. But it's all about, I wanted to see if ball could go far. It did. You just got to control it. And so then there's my other shot. Now, if we go back, and we go back to the S3, all right, the S3 was 163, 164, and it's all because I just could not find the center of that doggone club face. However, where did they go? Well, they went right here. And when I tell you I couldn't find the middle of the club face, this will show you right there. All right, this is for a person that needs to have proper ball striking skills, of which this was not. So this is, a perfect example of a fitting technique to show you that, yep, this is not for me. Got him out there as far as a consistency thing, but just sprayed it everywhere. All right, if we go and we look, wrong way. If we go and look at the grouping, it just goes and shows you that very same thing. And I did exactly the same thing again. I went, and this is the normal shots, and this is me trying to hit it basically as hard as I can and getting 175 out of it. And that is maxed out. All right, so right in here and then hitting as hard as you can. So honestly, it's a same tail, just one shorter and one is longer. Okay. And if we go back and we look at it, that's what that one looks like versus that's what that one looks like. And you got the 3 and then a little bit tighter. Okay, so what now we're looking at is we're trying to figure out why would we pick the Modus Forged, right? Or I'm sorry, start that again. All right, this is a younger golfer. He's very, very strong. He swings, a pretty decent swing speed, but his quality of hit with the other one was kind of strained. So we went back and we just said, let's try this forged out. And I gave him the Mizuno Forged, and I put a Modus 120S in it, and as you can see, he hit the living daylights out of it with an excellent smash factor, a little bit lower spin rate than I wanted to see, but it did stop. It only rolled out 3 yards, and that was because of the sheer height that he got on it. Hit a very nice draw, and we're going to see where he landed him here in just a moment. Now, when I gave him an X-Flex, that changed. That was about a 10-yard difference. He hit it very close to the same swing speed, got a little bit more spin on it, but he still had his 2 yards of rollout instead of 3. So let's go figure out where he landed. Well, let's take a look at the plan right here. All right, so when he hits it, it looks like this. All right, he's hitting that draw, and it comes down. And when you hit them that far and that kind of precision, I don't think anybody's going to argue with you. Now we go find the X ball, and we see, or the X shaft, and he takes it out to the right. It's trying to come left, and as you can see, he's still finding it there, but the pattern just is not as tight. So let's go find our grouping here. So there's our grouping right there. It would have been tight if I would have left there, but I wanted to compare 6 to 6, and that's what he had to have, because it's important to see that, right? There he hit the crud out of the 243 right there, just a hair shorter. And I gave him a choice between that and the other one. He wanted ball go far. And so this is what ball go far looks like for him. He's landing at 230 with a miss at 210. But as an average, if I would have taken the 4, it would have looked up here. And as opposed to, that was a 3 with the HM Pro. But I did not, the other 3 in there were pretty bad. Alrighty, so that's how far this guy can hit it. Okay, so here's the other fella. This one here, S3, he was one that already came into the preconceived notion that he wanted to hit a blade because he was comparing them against Mura's. Mura's an awfully nice golf club, and it was a very old golf club, and he's getting up in age, and distance is going to be a thing, but it's not a deal breaker per se. He was more concerned about where the stuff landed. So I gave him the first one that he hit was an S3 with an Acra 105. He got it out there basically a yard further and hit it just a little bit better. However, when it came right down to it, you'll see that we ended up with the Modus, and it was just a yard shorter, a little bit better spin, and they're both considered to be straight. And compared to a 245 or a 241, he was happy with this. This 199 for a 6-iron is not a bad thing when you're considering a blade. And then the 245, which was, the other side of this, was a good number. But when you go into this S3 and it has the look that he was looking for, had the feel that he was looking for, and he basically gains the club, it was basically a home run. All right, so now let's go see where this one went. Okay, so we're going to hit this guy. And if you can see, he is right down the stinking middle here. Not a lot of missing going on, and that's how that one turned out. If we look in the grouping, I mean, he's right there. You're just not going to miss that, right? And there's the 241, which was the blade. So we're like, well, you hit the blade there, and you hit this there. This is a bit more consistent. All right, you see where the lengths are right. It's just a left or right versus a typical players like our blade is you can be on line, but if you miss it, you're going to be penalized in distance. And there was the other one with the 245 and the same shaft, but he ended up liking that one a little bit better. All right, so you saw that these guys pretty much clobbered the ball, right? They we had one guy that he was 58 and still hit the ball very well, was that ball striker we talked about, and absolutely smoked the S3s. All right, just killed him. And we put out some Muras out of a bag that he's had for several years in order to replace that. So I'm saying that they did a pretty good job. And again, it's about being fit. We found the right shaft that worked for him, and all of a sudden we were hitting it very well. The one with the other one is he was a better golfer, a stronger, better golfer, not like the guy before, and was just bombing it, right? Just absolutely bombing it. I put him in some other clubs, and he was just throwing it way, way, way out there, and to the point it was just too far. So we reeled him in a little bit. You think, well, it's still stronger, Jim. Yeah, but not like the others. And he hit those, and when we got him into the right shaft, his pattern started coming back down. So that was good. Now, as far as me, I pulled them both equally to my inside, which is okay. But as you could tell, the S3 was for a better ball striker, the guy that could find the middle of the club face. In this particular instance, I was not. All right, it was very short. My ball striking was average at best. All right, average at best. However, with the Forge Club, I'm hitting this thing right where I want to hit a club of that nature. It's going out there where I want it to. It does everything I need it to. My club, the quality of my impact was right where I wanted to be. Hit a really good ball with that. So somebody like me, and I was shooting the mid 80s, that could hit that. That's the reason why I said that earlier. So you've got that. So if you're that low handicapper, we'll say single digits or better, and you have a pretty decent swing speed, and you can find the middle of the club face, that S3 would definitely be for you. Because what will happen here is if you get something too strong and you hit those balls, if you hit your 6-iron 240, 250, then what are you going to do for the rest of the game, right? So you have to kind of put that into that ball that is the makeup of your bag. All right, and then the Forge Club, the JPX Forge, super duper nice. I see us going through quite a few of these along with the pros. Maybe a guy with a little stronger swing speed, but just still needs a little bit of help getting it around. All right, so again, take along. If you really are interested in these, go get fit. Go find a fitter, go hit them. Make sure you get the right shaft, you get the right set makeups, and I'm telling you, it will make a world of difference. All right, if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe below. Join us on our live streams on Mondays. And as always, let's see your scores go low.